are living stereo stylists in this groove.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Welcome to Podcast Alive with iSpike Bikerman, proudly brought to you by iSpikeStudios.com. Hey, g'day listeners. I'm iSpike and thank you for tuning in to Podcast Alive. Welcome back to episode number 3 of the Matt Taylor series. This is where we take a deeper dive into the music of the legend Matt Taylor and go to what I'm to believe would be perhaps a highlight of your career, the band called Chain.
Yeah, well, it's still going.
Exists. It's still happening.
Still exists.
How old's the band?
52 years.
Wow, man. Wow.
Yeah.
And do all the band members live here in West Australia?
No. This is the amazing thing about Chain. I live in Western Australia.
Yeah.
The drummer lives in South Australia. Phil Manning, the guitarist, lives in Victoria. And the bass player lives in northern New South Wales.
Every single different state.
Yeah.
so when there's a gig on, you've all got to fly to it.
Yeah, when there's a gig on, we all fly together. And, you know, we just love each other, you know.
Yeah.
We respect each other.
50
So
years,
I respect those guys.
Yeah. Brothers.
Yeah.
More than family.
Yeah.
You
They're
can
me.
take a bullet for
Yeah,
each other to a degree.
Yeah, oh, God.
The experiences you guys have, you know.
Oh, yeah.
The elation too at the end of a gig, for instance.
Yeah.
Getting together, oh man, that was so good. And to see that girl do the throat, and you when that bra landed on your face and you stuffed up your guitar and whatever. Just stories, you know.
Yeah, it reminds me of the, you know, when you first start the little bikini, and now it'd be the
the big
bloomer.
bloomers.
No, it's they're marvelous musicians. Like when I joined Chain, because Chain, I'm not an original member of
Existed
it.
prior to you coming. Okay.
So it was started by a girl named Wendy Saddington. What an incredible woman she was.
Yep.
And Wendy would come and see me every now and then. She was funny. Sometimes she'd be just, you know, the most loving person, and other times she'd be really standoffish.
Okay.
And every now and then she'd come up and say, "Matt, I want my band back." I said, "You were only with them for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I've been with them for, you know, 20 years, Wendy."
At the time, yeah.
And, you know, but it was always just a joke between us.
Yeah, righto.
And so she leaves, and there's all these different chains. There's been something like 30, I think, different lineups of
Changes with members of bands at different
most
stages.
of them with Phil in them, but I had the Matt Taylor chain for many years.
Right.
And then...
And what part in the band, were you the drummer?
No, Phil's the guitarist.
What part did you play, Matt? in
Always the singer and harmonica player.
And harmonica.
And
A little bit of guitar?
occasionally, yeah, I used to take the Yellow Peril out. So I think there's, if you see Chain doing the 10 years anniversary of Mushroom Records, I've got the Yellow Peril.
Okay.
I've still got it. I had to get it repaired.
Yellow Peril's a guitar.
The beautiful yellow Peril.
Yeah.
And you can look it up. Chain 10 years anniversary of Mushroom.
Right.
And see, that was amazing. Chain hadn't really seen each other much for about 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And Michael Gudinski wanted us to get Chain together, because he actually says if it wasn't for this band, there'd be no Mushroom Records.
Records. Well
he actually
done.
says that when he's introducing us.
Wow, that's great.
So they gave us a day to rehearse. We walked in. We said, well, we've got to play 45 minutes. Here's 45 minutes. We looked at the list, played it once and went home.
Because that's how many songs you had, easy, 45 minutes.
It was just like we'd never stopped.
Yeah, bam.
Yeah, we didn't,
Yeah.
you know.
And how big was the gap between, like, you know?
About 7 or 8 years.
7 or 8 years.
And even today, well, now with this corona business, it may be a year, well over a year, till
Before
I
you can
see
get
the
together
guys
again.
again and we can play a gig,
'Cause I know-
especially in 4 states.
Yeah, well, that is one of my questions down towards the end here. We might as well touch on it now. Is you know, how has this current state of affairs around the globe affected you personally?
Well, same as everyone else. I'm out of work.
Out of work.
And of course, being an artist, the government gives you nothing because, you know, we're unimportant.
Right.
And fair enough. If they
Not
want to do
essential
that,
services.
that's absolutely fine.
So it's a little bit struggle street.
Yes.
The
No.
gigs and things are postponed.
Yeah.
Like these festivals and stuff.
Oh, yeah. We
Gatherings.
we
and
lost
Byron Bay
enormous-
Blues
Yeah,
was
we lost
one
the
that
Byron
was-
Bay Blues Festival.
Yeah.
And we're booked for a Byron for next year.
Yeah.
And God, we don't even know if we can do that.
By then, it depends
We
on
don't
how it
even
all
know.
unfolds,
Yeah.
really. Yeah.
You know, we could be out of work for a couple of years, but no worries. I just spend the time because I paint.
Okay.
And I also write songs. So I've spent most of the time recording.
Yeah.
As I said, I've got
This
that
other one,
CD and I've got the next one ready to go and virtually the skeleton of the next 2.
After that.
Yeah.
Well, all down on paper, yeah.
Well, all down on recorded.
Oh, recorded.
Yeah,
Yeah. So do you have like a recording studio?
Yeah,
at your
I have a
home?
recording studio at home.
Yeah.
And
Good on you,
you know,
man.
I've been doing it.
It's your life,
all
isn't it,
my
man?
life. Oh,
It's not just a hobby. It's everything.
No,
It's everything.
no, you know, you ask the question,
Living the
what are
dream.
you? You know,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
would you describe Matt Taylor?
Yeah, a musician.
Just get all the music.
Yeah.
I don't have to really say much.
Yeah.
It's all there.
It's all in there.
And all your, you know, there's experiences in there that I
written
won't
songs
remember
about.
unless
You
someone
brings
it
it to
up.
mind.
Yeah.
Is that because like you're into the next thing? You're always thinking about. You're in the now.
Yeah.
You're in the now a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
You know, more so than back then. You're in the now and what's going on now, and then that's generating your future.
Oh, and you know, we've the last time, you know, that's what I tell people. In 1939, if you knew that in 7 or 8 years, in 1939, you would be able to get in a jet plane that didn't have propellers and fly across an ocean, it just wouldn't have occurred.
No, science fiction.
And that's what I think this Coronas thing is. Isn't it wonderful? We're going to have an incredible consciousness change, and we didn't have to go through a war to get it. You know, 50 million people didn't have to die. You know,
this
so that
consciousness
you
change,
could get
yeah.
a 747 or 737 in, you know, the early 60s.
Yeah. All righty, Matty. So I'm going to go back to my couple of questions here.
Yeah.
And going back to Chain,
Yeah.
the band Chain, would you say that would be a particular highlight period of your career? And
well,
I mean, and as you say,
yeah.
it's still going on now, but not as often.
Yeah.
Back then it was.
Well, to people who think that, being in the top 10 and all this is really what music's all about, yes, it probably was, but I'm not like that. Creating great music is really what it's all about. And it's an amazing thing. I was telling someone the other day how you learn stuff. And in 1973, 74, I can remember doing the festival hall in Melbourne, having 5,000 teenagers singing along with I Remember When I Was Young, Brisbane to Beechworth, all the songs.
That were popular.
And 2 years later, I was supporting Skyhooks. Oh. And those same people were saying, get off, we want Skyhooks.
Yeah, righto.
And I thought, ooh, so this is how this business works. And and I thought, nah, Matt, just write great songs. Forget the pop bullshit,
Okay.
That's not what it's about.
So fame...
about music.
Yeah, I was going to say the fame side of things.
Yeah.
This is what you're saying. The interpersonal relationships, has it had much of an effect on people wanting to know you for who you are or what you are? Or
to a certain degree. I think you attract people of a like mind to you.
So creative. Would you like a drink of water?
No, it's all right.
Because we've been talking for a bit.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
You know people who want to use you for every now and then, but I think I never say anything, but they find out pretty quick. It's pretty hard to bullshit me.
Yeah. So your bullshit detector is pretty good.
Oh.
And of course, from the man I'm meeting today, myself, Matt, is what I'm finding is a pretty straight up and down, no bullshit man.
Oh, yeah.
And you're very honest with yourself.
Oh, God. Yeah.
So obviously that's going to portray out there.
Yeah.
I've got goosebumps, man. Just I have. All my hairs are standing up just talking to you a little bit about this. I guess I'm having an epiphany, feeling the fact that I'm sitting in the presence of a dude that's been on stage and done what he's done for the past 55...
No, 52. I'm not that old yet.
Okay, well, 52 years, man,
But that reminds me
huge,
of...
man. That's huge.
Shane had brought out...
and you're still going.
Yeah, oh, God, I'll be going forever.
Mate. And that's without Viagra, isn't it?
Oh, well...
No drugs. No drugs.
I will have to find out about that one. Yeah, like we did the Gympie muster when Chain brought out Chain the first 30 years.
Okay.
And when we did our show, we sold a few CDs. Then I went over to the main stage and watched Slim. And Slim says... Here's a song I recorded 50 years ago, and I thought, wow, we've just, we're bragging about our 30 years, and here's Slim talking about 50, and now I'm there with Slim. I can say this is a song we recorded 50 years ago.
Well, that's right. Here now you are. Yeah, okay. I'm just clicking on what you're saying, and that's true, man. That is so true. I guess it's like, isn't that if you're married, 50 years is a diamond thing or something. It's just quite a special thing or something.
Well, they should give you a diamond. If you can last 50 years in marriage, gee, I'd give you a diamond. It's,
good on you, man.
The ultimate guru finds a couple that's been together for 50 years and sit down and say, tell me, how on earth did you do it?
Matt, you mentioned earlier, man, that you paint, now because of this COVID thing and stuff, painting and writing songs, and we know about your latest disc and more on the ready to go in the oven, so to speak. Yeah. What I want to ask you here, man, I have to read the question because it's
that's all right.
It's a good question. if a sound recording is much like a photo, in that it captures a small slice of time.
Yep.
How do you feel about expecting to play the same way for 30 or 40 years? A totally different question. I've bloody mixed that up. Cut. Okay, don't do that. But, mate, where is the canvas one? Is I'm looking for the one. Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, but that was a good question.
Yeah,
That's a good
that was good.
question.
I can answer it.
Yeah, I'll rephrase it because
Okay.
Ezzy wrote this one. Anthony wrote this one. Okay. So I'll say that. I'll say that again. Okay. So sound recording, Matt.
Yep.
If sound recording is like that, it captures just a moment in time. How do you feel about somebody asking you to play, or you actually having to play that same song for 30 or 40 years?
Yeah.
The people's expectations of you back then, now.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Well, there's certain songs that I have to play. You know, Black and Blue, I remember when I was young, 3220 Blues.
Top 10
Yeah.
sort of stuff.
And now, see, when we say first, the boogie on Toward the Blues is a perfect example. When we first played it, it would change every night, radically.
Right.
Now the changes are tiny.
You can, yeah.
Tiny.
Yes. Yeah.
Tiny.
Only you guys.
But
know
they're
that.
still changing.
Right there, something there.
Still
As
evolving.
an individual musician,
Yeah.
does someone sort of just add a little something different in just?
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what we've always done in Chain. Is
Spice it up.
this is another story. Chain had a #1 record, and we'd never seen a black blues band. We had never actually seen an American blues band.
Right, hey.
And I'd already left Chain and I was doing the solo thing. And I was going to go up to Nimbin for the big festival up there. And I get a phone call from Michael Godinsky again. Matt, I'm bringing out Muddy Waters. These are the dates. I want you on the show. And they're the exact same dates as I...
Nimbin thing.
And I thought, oh, God, what do I do?
Yeah.
And I thought, Muddy Waters. So I did the Muddy Waters tour.
Yeah, and plus also, for those that don't know, Michael Godinsky is a promoter.
Oh, yeah.
Big promoter here in Australia.
Yeah.
Yep, righto, yep.
And so we do our sound check. And then all the guys from Chain are sitting down. Muddy comes on to do his sound check.
Yep.
And we thought that the Afro-American blues bands would be the same as us, just go on stage, make it up every night. And no, they were incredibly arranged. And Muddy had a harp player by the name of George Mojo Buford.
Uh-huh.
And they were playing, you know, one of his great songs, Baby Please Don't Go, something like that.
Oh, wow.
And he stopped it in the middle and said, George, you don't play it that way. You're coming in too early. And we're just, you know, if I would have said to Phil Manning, oh, Phil, I don't like that riff you're playing, can you change it? He would have just looked at me and said, fuck off. You know, what do you know? Can you do it better? You know? And if they would have said the same to me, I would have been the same.
Yeah.
And
so that's that.
they were
Australian
incredibly
way.
arranged.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
we played blues more like a jazz band.
Yeah, just a feel and a flow.
Yeah.
Where that was a bit more regimented, a bit more
Yeah.
big band.
It was still one of the best bands I have ever seen in my life.
Muddy Waters.
But it was really tight. And I toured with both Muddy and Willie Dixon. And those guys they ruled their band with an iron fist.
Did you pick up anything yourself,
Oh,
Matt?
yeah. Tons.
Goes without
Yeah,
saying.
and most of it was subliminal.
Yes.
You
Yep,
know,
Yep. Stuff that you're just exposed to it.
Like
and it.
I had a million questions I wanted to ask Muddy Waters, and there was one time where just me and Muddy were waiting for our car to arrive,
Yeah.
and here's me and Muddy, and I had all these questions, and Muddy just looked so sublime sitting there. I said, I'm not going to worry this man. And so we're sitting there for 10 minutes, and the car arrives, and then Muddy gets up, gives me the biggest smile. Thanks for not asking me.
A million questions.
And walked out. And that taught me more than, you know.
Yeah.
It taught me a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I just had a new baby. My Carlina, my oldest daughter, she'd just been born. And I'd been touring, and I wanted to get home and see my babe.
Yeah.
And we're doing a university, I think it's Melbourne University, I could be wrong, could have been Monash.
Right.
And I thought, look, I've seen Muddy play, 15 times on this tour. I'll just watch the first song and then go home.
Yep. No, it didn't happen.
Nah. 40, an hour later, I got my mojo working and I'm jumping up. I thought, oh, Matt.
Literally it is. That's how much
it's
it's connected. You're connected here to it.
Yeah. And it's still, and the incredible thing is that Muddy then, this is 1973 or 4, was only about 65 or something like that.
Right.
I'm older than what Muddy was.
Wow. Yeah, right.
then.
Yeah, right.
And Muddy had to sit down and play.
Okay.
But God, he was,
okay.
what a
Unfit.
what a wonderful human being he was.
Yeah, the soul was singing.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's. I've never cracked that ice. I'm an entertainer general across the board. Having a second wind in my retirement years with all this, and my live streaming and what I'm doing, and hopefully getting more great interviews like with you. Well, not with you, with people like your good self. And I was going to say something, and I've just gone out there, so I'm not even going to carry on with that. That whatever I want, the rest of what I wanted to say.
It'll come back.
It'll come back. You mentioned before, and here we go. This is about paintings. Okay, so yes, you mentioned before you in addition to being a musician, you're a creator. You're a creator, in a sense, and the arts or painting is something that you enjoy too. How long have you been painting, Matt?
It happens. Well, my mum years ago gave me fabric paints. My mum used to get fabric paint. Hobbytex.
Hobbytex.
But this is the really, even before it was called Hobbytex, but it's the same thing. And my mum used to do that. And again, I'm in Sydney, and I walk past this little place, and there's a badge with a mushroom painted on it. And I thought, oh, that's just gorgeous. So I went in and bought it.
Yeah.
And then looking at it, I thought, in those days, there was badges, whenever a new CD or something came out, there'd be badges.
Yeah.
So, and, if it didn't work, at the agency or something where you were working, they'd have a whole pile of badges. So I just grabbed all the badges and put some undercoat on them and started painting the badges with fabric paints because it comes out really thick and and everything like that. Yeah, so that's really
How you
what started
got
me off,
started?
and now I do canvases.
Yeah, righto. Matt, I was going to ask you, so how do you approach your painting then, these canvases? Do you have any idea of what you want to paint? Or, like there's a blank canvas in front of you, or, do you just let it happen? Type of
Yeah,
thing?
very much. A lot of times, I'll see a fabulous shape and I'll work out the geometry of it. Now, the wonderful thing about we'll go back to industrial B.
Yeah.
Is geometry was called maths B, and arithmetic was maths A, and the class average for maths B, which is geometry, was 2%.
Oh.
2%.
Is it back in
So
the
it gives you
60s?
some idea that there was no education going on.
Yeah, right.
All
They
it
weren't being
was
taught properly,
yeah.
or the attitude of the kids, and just general.
Oh,
Life back then was just more.
And of course, in
loose.
those days, the top of the baby boomers, there was 42 kids in every class.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the whole of my schooling was, I would not have been in a class with less than 40 people.
Yeah, righto. And this is in the cities, isn't it?
Yeah,
This is
so,
in the cities.
6 of those 40 would have been educated, the rest of them,
Yeah.
unless they could work it out. And the only reason why, in chemistry it was 4%, and that was because there was a kid in the class named Dieter Fuhl. He was from Germany. He never talked to anybody. He just got on with his work, and he got 90%, and that took the class average up to 4%.
Okay.
And
He doubled it by himself.
I'd love to know what this guy's doing now.
Yeah,
So
yeah, what was
if
he
anyone
on?
knows about Dieter Fuhl, he'd be 72 now. Tell me, and
If you're out there, Dieter, and you want
no,
to give us your
he
secret,
would not be watching this show. I can tell you that now.
Oh, you never know.
You know,
Never know you're lucky in a big city.
yeah, it's an amazing thing. So
Sort of as they're just painting it.
yeah, but all my painting is geometric shapes.
Oh, righto.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know,
And
I
does it
get
have
the
a mean-
compasses out.
Oh, okay. Does it mean anything to you?
Oh yeah. Basically, again, we get to the deep philosophical thing, which really painting should be, and that is that physicality in science no longer exists. It's all energy.
Yep.
And energy, even particles, is still energy, and it moves in waves. There's a lake in Maylands, and I went up there, and there was a wind blowing, and you could actually see waves going one way and other waves going over the top.
Oh, okay.
And
It's the change of the wind.
yeah, and that's how I think humanity will have to start to think in waves, and eventually, with say quantum mechanics, which is basically what it's all about, is that those waves will have colour and shape when we eventually figure them out.
Yeah, figure
because
it out.
we already know that you put sound through sand and it comes out in shapes.
Yes, that's right.
And
You get a drum. And
that's right, yeah. And so all the other energies that are around us also have shape.
Because there's the thing, harmonic balances.
Yeah, yeah.
In giant machinery. And
That's
stuff.
what it's all about.
Yeah.
And remember, we're just being pounded by
Well,
waves that we know about,
Wi-Fi
but we're
waves.
also pounded by waves that
yeah,
are hidden.
yeah. I
And
agree with you.
eventually we'll find them out. You know, when I remember many years ago I was watching, because I love paleontology and all of that type of stuff.
Yep.
And here's Richard Leakey, the guy who, found some of the oldest skulls on Earth. And he's sitting there and he says, a lot of people seem to think that we're the end product of evolution. Nah, evolution's just started.
Yeah. Just the beginning.
We still fight wars. We're stupid.
Yeah, exactly right. If we can look at ourselves in that respect, I agree.
Yeah, until we can, like even with me, I've got friends who are the exact opposite in their political opinions, their every opinion, but they're still my friends.
Agree to disagree.
Yep.
Yeah. And I've got this thing, Matt, where I think information or a person's awareness, whether it be self or generally, it is allowed to the individual at the time that they're meant to become aware of it, so to speak.
For sure.
A timing thing.
But go back to when I'm walking back from
Thank you.
the cafe. I'm walking back from the cafe in at school. My consciousness changed.
Yes,
I went into that cafe
it
with
was
one
a life
consciousness.
moment, wasn't it?
I
Yeah.
walked out of that cafe and it had completely changed.
That light's playing up, isn't it?
And with painting,
Yeah.
when people say, why is Van Gogh so... Van Gogh sold one painting in his entire life.
Yeah.
People could not figure out what's this blob of paint just doing there.
Yeah.
And it was because his consciousness had changed and he dragged the human race. And I know this for a fact because I was in Melbourne walking through a street once and I knew about Van Gogh.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're enjoying the Matt Taylor series. Stick around because there's more in episode 4.
That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Welcome to Podcast Alive with iSpike Bikerman, proudly brought to you by iSpikeStudios.com. Thank you for listening to Podcast Alive, and we'll see you in the next episode. Hooroo!